Hello everyone and welcome to our coverage of the Greensboro Regional here in Greensboro, North Carolina. My name is Nick Jones and alongside me is John Wagoner, and we're going to talk about the Sweet 16 matchup on Friday night between the South Carolina Gamecocks and the North Carolina Tar Heels. So John, what was your take on that game?
Well, I honestly expected a little bit more of the Tar Heel fans to show up, but just like as it was today and as it has been throughout the whole season, the Garnet Blacks showed up, and the team, however, didn't show up early. I was a little frustrated, and I imagine most people were with their play early on, but they thrived late, and they played behind some unsung heroes. Who was some of your top players from that game?
Well, one of them's definitely got to be Tina Roy. I mean, she came in big situations, making these outside shots where most of the time the Gamecocks were trailing for most of the game, but it was like when they were down by 3 or 2, that she either got them tied or just put them right over the edge and gave them the extra boost that they needed in the situations they did need them.
Exactly.
What was your take on Olivia Gaines' play?
Olivia Gaines was huge down low. She played her heart out, and she was the kind of aggressive play that they needed because North Carolina was moving the ball and they were getting inside, and that was the same thing that South Carolina needed on the other end to be able to compete and win that game just like they did.
Absolutely. It's like you said, they didn't start off well, but they finished, and that's one thing that I think they've been pretty solid at all season, is just making sure they finish games, and obviously they come out with a victory. So let's take it to the locker room and let's see what the interviews we have with some of the players.
So I'm here with Alicia Welsh after their Sweet 16 victory, and what's it like to make it to the Elite Eight?
It's exciting. It's a great feeling. It's something that we had a goal to do, and it's kind of just one step closer to our ultimate goal for the season. But to be able to make it in this fashion is definitely an exciting feeling. I think we need to come out with a little bit more energy, and I think when we're on a run, we have to kind of just maintain that. I think a lot of times when we had the opportunity to pull away from the game, we kind of just we had some mishaps and some lapses, especially on defense. So just making sure that we remain the course and we play our game.
So you came in with 12 points. What's it feel like to be kind of the ace in the hole that just came out of nowhere?
It feels good, but I know early in the game I only made one. I was missing a few shots, but I never stopped shooting. That's the thing. If you're a shooter, don't stop shooting because it eventually fall.
Now let's move on to Sunday's matchup against the Florida State Seminoles in the Elite Eight. This is a place that the Gamecocks have reached only a few times, and they'll look today to make their first run to the Final Four. What were your thoughts coming into this game, Nick?
Yeah, John, South Carolina and Florida State, two very good teams. South Carolina being the #1 seed in this region and Florida State being number 2. South Carolina, I feel like, got a lot of momentum from Friday night's game just because of them playing from behind, getting it back close, and then pulling out that last-second victory. I think that boosts their confidence a tremendous amount. I mean, how did you feel about that?
In this game, everybody talked about Florida State's rebounding abilities, and they definitely showed that today. They out-rebounded the Gamecocks 33-28, and while that is a small margin, in the game it was much more prevalent. They were getting especially important rebounds, which obviously that doesn't show up on the stat line, but it showed up in the game, and somehow South Carolina was able to come out of that without making it affect the entire game.
Well, I can tell you what, John, the difference maker was the field goal percentage. Florida State shot 42% from the field, and South Carolina went 62%. South Carolina's been very good from the field all throughout this year. They make the majority of their shots, and I think that's what's carried them over other opponents to get the victories. John, what was your biggest performances for the game?
Absolutely, it's going to be Tiffany Mitchell and Elena Coates. Tiffany Mitchell was consistent throughout the game, making shots that were necessary, keeping the Gamecocks in the lead. They sat within 1 point of the Seminoles for a lot of the game, back and forth, a lot of lead changes, and several times when South Carolina took the lead, it was at the hands of Tiffany Mitchell. And as for Elena Coates, she was a presence down low. Mitchell and Coates hooked up a few times, with Mitchell feeding her down low in the post, and Coates was able to make those shots. Additionally, Asia Dozier, as way late in the game, sealed the deal, being put on the line to shoot free throws, and she sunk. I believe she went 6 for 6 in her last stretch. So, what was some of the most frustrating things for you about this game?
Well, I think the most frustrating things were just not making good passes. South Carolina had a lot of turnovers, and it could prove costly. Obviously not now, but maybe in the Final Four, when they're playing whoever they're going to play, like the likes of UConn. They can't have mistakes like that. So, John, did you think any officiating had any impact on this game?
Well, as a fan, you would think possibly. A lot of people in here were complaining. They were very vocal. Coach Staley was clearly frustrated with the calls, and a lot of them seem to go, even some unnecessary ones usually went Florida State's way, whether it was, a charge call, blocking calls, things like that, even missing double dribbles. We even saw a double dribble call on a loose ball, which I guess you don't really see that too much. But I believe that the players didn't really affect them. They're seasoned in, maybe bad officiating or just, dealing with officiating in general. So I don't think it affected them, but let's hear what they had to say in the locker room. Take me through those plays, especially the ones where you went trying to go coast to coast. You got the steal coming down the court. What's it like in that situation?
I got to think, make the basket. Don't go off of 2 feet. I'm just thinking about coach telling me to take off and go aggressive and go to score at all times, and that's the only thing I'm thinking.
You think that 24-hour celebration mode might stretch out a little bit?
It may stretch a little bit more. It might go to 48 hours.
So what was the first thing you were thinking of as soon as the buzzer hit?
Happiness. I jumped up and down like I had just won an NBA championship. It just happiness because we were resilient, and the one thing we stressed was it's not going to be given to you. You have to take it, and we were able to do that. We came out, and even when our backs were against the wall, we took what we felt like was rightfully ours and what we deserved. So it was pure happiness.
Now heading into Tampa, are you kind of looking forward to the weather a little bit better than Greensboro?
Of course, it's and Florida has more of consistent weather. Greensboro been a little up and down for us, but you savor the moment, and the weather would definitely be one plus of having the Final Four in Tampa.
South Carolina will make their first Final Four appearance next Sunday against either Baylor or Notre Dame. So either way, whoever they're going to play, it's going to be a great matchup.
Either team that South Carolina gets is going to be exciting. Both of them have been in the national championship and the Final Four in the past few years repeatedly. Baylor has a national championship about 2 or 3 years ago, I believe, and Notre Dame had a chance last year, but couldn't seal a deal against almighty UConn. And UConn is going to be a team that everybody's going to be watching. South Carolina is going to have their eyes on it, but they'll be focused on the game at hand, which, like we said, will be either against Baylor or Notre Dame.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll see some more great basketball. I know we had a great weekend here in Greensboro, and hopefully we'll see something similar in Tampa.
Absolutely.
So that's going to do it for us at Capital City Sports. For John Wagoner, I'm Nick Jones.